stretch your faith. You gotta keep it moving. You gotta keep on pressing through your obstacles. It doesn't matter what your situation is. It doesn't matter what your obstacles may be. You gotta stretch your faith.
Welcome. It is your girl, your co-host, Cynthia J on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. For those who are on here for their very first time, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and share. You are on the Cynthia J Show. I am your co-host, your psalmist, your birthing doula, your spiritualist, inspirational encourager, and so much more. And with that being said, welcome to the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men, making sure that we keep you up to date on current topics and events that are going on. So while I'm getting myself prepared and ready, I'm just getting ready up here to start to share this live with those who are not on quite yet. So let me go ahead and chime, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Yes, today is Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, guys. I missed you guys so much. For all those, shout out to all the mothers who had an amazing Mother's Day last weekend. I know your Mother's Day had to been a blessing, a greatest gift, enjoying with your family and friends and loved ones, with your mothers. I have to admit, at one point I was like, no kids allowed for me. I didn't want my child to be nowhere around. I wanted to just be my day to myself. But you know what? I'm glad that those who know me best and love me said, you better take your child. Even though sometimes them kids can be a handful. Yes, indeed. These kids, they can be something else sometimes. I'm telling you. But I definitely will say I enjoyed myself on Mother's Day weekend. I got to spend some time of what I could with my mother. Thank God for her, because again, it's going on 2 years since the passing of or I should say, ascension of my brother. For those who are aware and for those who are not, for those who are just chiming on in, welcome to the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. It will be me waving high and shouting out to you guys. But yes, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and share as I am tagging along to others to let them know that I am on live right now. So, with that being said, we're going to be going over some current topics today. I know you guys been seeing a lot that's been happening. For real, for real. And Pink Wave. Hey, mom. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful. Yes, that's my mother. I want that. I got to give a shout out to my mom. She is my biggest supporter. I love her. She always, supports. So for all those who support their children, continue to shout out and send love to your mothers, because not only they the nurturer, they're the provider at times when necessary. They are the healers in your household. They do so much more. They don't even realize at times they are the oracles in your life. So with that being said, shout out to my mom. Again, happy Mother's Day to her. She's been a mother in my life since I've been born for 43 years of my life. Yes, I'm telling it. I may not look my age, but I'm telling it. So I shout out to her. But yeah, we're going to get on some a couple of topics today. For those who have seen the flyer, for those who have not seen it, I'm going to pull it up, especially for my people that's on TikTok. Show y'all right now. This is what y'all see. This is the flyer. This pertaining to our dear brother who is being publicized so much, but yet supported so much behind the scenes of going after that police officer who brutally unalived his son on a chase. So there's been like 3 different types of articles and videos that I have came across with that situation, which is crazy because it's like, okay, you hear one article and you read one article, especially if you're watching the news for those who don't get to really watch it often. But as I'm explaining this, I'm looking up the article for you guys. But yeah, it was said that they was trying to say that he intentionally ran over the retired officer, as quote unquote what is said. And then it is stated that in a video by a woman who was there recording, but you only catch a glimpse of pieces like after the fact. And she stated that it was someone that was ahead of him that actually caused the accident and just happened to be at the right place at the right time, quote unquote, what they say. That's still up in the air. However, with the son, it was said that the vehicle was reported stolen by the company that wherever he leased his vehicle from. And now these days, that's a tricky situation because people are, getting arrested for stuff like that. So let's say if you miss a car payment, I'm not saying that's the full detail quite yet. That's still an investigation. However, let's just say that you miss a car payment and these people who you leased your vehicle with turns around and reports is stolen. And then you're running for your life because you're trying to figure out why they chasing you down, if that's the case. And so with that being said, that's a serious matter that needs to be handled. But, they call themselves trying to scare this brother. They not scaring this father because this father made sure that he ran and did what a father would do. If someone unalive your child, what would you do? It doesn't matter if they carry a badge or any title. What would you do? Some people would say, well, I wouldn't do that. I leave it into the law's hands. That's what some would say. They would. That's what some would say. However, in some cases, how much more are you willing to go through to continue to see another young Black American man or a young Black American sister be unalived, sabotaged for something that wasn't even their fault? Think about that. How much more are we willing to go through that? How much more are we willing to lose our youth? If you think back on those times during Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., it was so many young youth being unalived and set up for so many reasons just to make it seem like it was something that they did wrong and they didn't. Things can always seem one way, but behind the scenes, there's more. Always remember that. Behind the scenes is always more. And we have all these video cameras. Excuse me for a second, guys. We have all these video cameras, right? And I'm catching a lot of people recording things now these days. A lot more are recording the situations. But then what are we doing ourselves any justice? Are we doing ourselves any justice going around constantly recording and not doing anything about it? Think about that. What is it benefiting? for us. We've been doing it for so long that you're watching the whole thing live right in front of you, to the point where it's like, okay, it's just another life taken for no apparent reason. Another life taken for what reason? Another young youth, another brother, another husband, another friend, another uncle, another sister, a auntie, a mother. Like just recently, not long ago, there was some gun violence occurring because of some animosity between someone else, and a bullet went through a home and hit a grandmother who was watching her grandchildren early in the morning. hmm But with that being said, that's a different topic. But it's sad when you have to constantly keep hearing the same thing over and over and over again. And a situation like this that happened in Ohio with his father, who finds out on the very day that his son was brutally gunned down, by assumption, unalived. For those who have watched it and seen the video, you've seen it for yourself. You've seen it for yourself. But for those who don't know, please, if you have a smartphone in your hand or a computer nearby, type the situation that happened in Ohio. Type it in. Type it in. Because you need to know what's going on. Don't just go by what some of these mass media is what they say. The majority of them, especially like Fox News and CNN, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're not. But for those who are unaware, the father, Hinston, every time if y'all look online, y'all seen that he walking in that courtroom. They wouldn't let none of his family come in there, in the courtroom. They wouldn't. There is a video that's out there. Hopefully I could try to find that while I'm up on here. And they wouldn't let his brother in the courtroom. It was more than 50 officers in that courtroom. Why does it take so many officers to be in a courtroom? These are people that's supposed to be taking care of the community, right? Supposed to be out in public, right? So if that's the case, why is majority of these people in the daggone courtroom? For what reason? Why are they in the courtroom? It does not take them many cops to be in no courtroom if they supposed to be serving the community, supposed to be working on taxpayers' dollars. Taxpayers' dollars, you and I, they tax us. They tax us. So why are they in the courtroom? Hey, love. Why are they in the courtroom with, I'm going to say 50, because the way I was seeing it, it was a lot of these officers. One man. And then y'all wouldn't let his family in the courtroom? His brother was outraged, and I don't blame him. And do you know there was a black officer sister that they were trying to wait for what it seemed to me, I could be wrong, trying to detour him, trying to calm him down. Yeah, they try to calm him down. I don't know why they try to calm him down for, because they all wrong. And just for that, to me, her being a sister, supposed to be a sister, that's to us, that's a coon. As if she's Black American. That's a coon. You riding because you riding with that uniform. But the people don't understand. The uniform is signify community, supposed to be. But it's the character of individuals behind the uniform that it makes you not trust. You shouldn't trust. You know why? Because each person behind that uniform is not who they really are. That can be for an officer. That can be sometimes for a lawyer. That can sometimes be for a doctor, a nurse, judge, anybody that's in office. So with that being said, why did it have to take so many of those officers to be in that courtroom? I'm still trying to figure that out, guys. I'm really still trying to figure that out. It doesn't make any sense to me. Because I'm looking at the video and I'm trying to find it for you guys while I'm up here. I'm like, why? Why does it have to take so many of them? It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. But they didn't even want to get this man bond. They even trying to take down, matter of fact, they were trying to take down some of the fundraising money from him. Mm-hmm. Yep. They were trying to take some of the fundraising down. That's how bad the situation is. You know why they're doing this? Because they're trying to keep it under wraps because they don't want. Y'all hear that? They don't want where the people start to figure it out for some to start to come on a rise. But let me share something with you. It's time to come on a rise because those who are older are going to be passing away. And you and I, our children, our grandchildren and great-grands, they are going to be the ones that are going to be left behind and living in this times that we are living in right now. And it is necessary that we pave the way for them to realize that it doesn't matter if you have on a uniform. To us, it doesn't matter about the laws anymore because the law and those who supposed to be obtaining the law, supposed to be walking in the law, supposed to be honoring the law, respecting the law, the character behind that uniform penetrates and overrides that authority and they abuse it and use it to try to take people out. I watched a video today where, matter of fact, I think that was on Instagram, and it was an officer pulling over a black elder, and she had on her uniform. And the way he was talking to her was very rude, very disrespectful, like she was underneath him. And you know, the funny thing was, all of this is being recorded, right? Check this out. While he's being so disrespectful and talking like she's beneath him, and he's radioing on the radio, guess what? She laughs a little bit with a little chuckle. She said, "Do you not see, judge?" And he said, "I'm not a judge." She said, "I know you basically are not. I am." Do you know this man didn't believe her? He did not believe her. He didn't believe her. But you know the funny thing was, once he realized that she was, and it was radiating through him, oh, he was being shook. He was getting shook. Yes, he was getting shook. And the crazy thing about it, as she was revealing to him how disrespectful he was and what he had done, he had broken her taillight on purpose and tried to say that she already had a taillight out. No, he broke it. And she let him know, "I will see you in court." This guy right here started getting all scared and everything. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. He started getting scary and everything. He couldn't even talk right. Talk about, "Oh, well, I'll let you off with a warning this time." A warning? You know what you just did to this lady? Do you realize what you just did to her? So that goes to show you that it doesn't even matter if we're a police officer or a nurse or judge and we're actually doing what we're supposed to be doing. We will still get targeted even with a uniform on. So with that being said, how does somebody who's supposed to be a retired officer going by, if this is true, if this part is still true, it's still under investigation, that a vehicle was stolen, and this is from the company that they purchased the car, all because that was their way how they wanted to repo it. And he runs because he's in fear for his life because he know not to trust the police, especially in Ohio. In Ohio, you don't trust the popos. You don't trust them anywhere, really. It's definitely not out there. And then you run in between the trash can and it hits and a ding, and then y'all think that's a gun. Because even to me, when I'm looking at it, it looks suspect. I'm just sharing with y'all, it looks suspect to me too. And I'm like, you know what? This is just too much. People, we really, like seriously, we really have to stand up for ourselves, be careful out here because it's some dangerous stuff going on out here. Dangerous stuff. But as I'm still looking for that, meanwhile, what y'all think about this situation about the so-called new pope? The new pope. I know you guys like, what the pope got to do with me? The first American pope. First American pope. I have to say something on that one, guys. I'm gonna tell you why. This situation here was just too funny for me. I'm gonna tell you why I'm saying something about it while I'm looking up the other information so I can make sure I read it to y'all. So, the day that the new pope was brought in, and I'm watching it live because at this time I do have another job outside of this, and I'm with one of my clients, and they were like, "Oh, we gotta go watch the new pope." So the spouse, he's like, whatever. He sits down, right? The question is asked to me, what do I think about everything? I said, you sure you want the answer? I said, I'm not trying to step on no toes, but they say be careful what you ask. So as she asked me a question, I am still watching this in the whole initiation because you know he's speaking in Latin and there's no translator. Mind you, the spouse is supposed to be Catholic. The other spouse, he's just going with the flow. Yet he was Orthodox. And I'm like, okay. I said, I would think that you know what he's saying. Oh no, but they supposed to translate it in English and such and such and such. I said, he looks familiar. I said, why this guy look familiar? And then it dawned on me. I said, this guy he's based out in Chicago. I said, this the one that was put on, I think he was, I said at the time I said probation, but some situation happened back in the 90s. I was young. And he couldn't be in the missionary community ministerial community anymore. And as she's still talking and she's mentioning all of this other stuff, I said, well, he's just a man. Well, yeah, he's the Pope and he's connected to God more and he translates from the heart of God so that people can understand. I was like, well, the gift is given to anyone that's willing if you know who God is within inside you and the interpretation that's given to you. Well, sometimes we can't go by our own interpretation because he's more connected. And I mean, she was just going in, and I was just being quiet for a moment. I just sit here and was just watching this lady, right, and just looking at her. I said, "Well, I've never been fond of because I went to a Catholic church. There used to be one right across from my school when I was in college. I never was a member. I just went, and then there was another church walking distance, right? And so I'm like." The Catholic Church, I never been fond of a fan to be say, hey, let me go on the confession booth and say, Father, I have sinned and start telling and telling and telling. Because they're supposed to be bound by oath, right? But if there's an investigation or some of any sort, they have to tell it. They say they don't, but they have to tell it. Don't believe that. They have to tell it. So why to me it's like, why do I need to confess to a man who is going through his own thing? when I can just talk to God and myself within me. And oh boy, you got that right. He translates from the devil. LOL. that's that's true. I was like, no, I mean, this is no offense with those with Catholic, but I gotta speak the truth. The truth is the truth. If people knew the whole history behind the Vaticans, like some people really don't know the history behind Vaticans. These are the same people that took out our ancestors, the ones who took out the oracles and the symbols, all of, like, for people that really want to know. Like me, I study, I love learning the truth and the history on things, the real stuff. I could be learning, listening to other stuff, and sometimes, they always say use your gift of discernment. And when you get that gift of discernment, it's just like, keeping my finger on it, but it's just not agreeing with my shanana. I always thought it was weird as a kid watching and seeing a pope. It just wasn't, I just couldn't figure it out as a kid. And even though I grew up in the church myself, I never went confessing to my pastors. I would talk with God. I would go outside under a tree and talk. And then all of a sudden I would just start to have my own experience. But when to talk to a man, no. These are the people that hide the history underground. I had one of my dear sisters who traveled around the world and went to see certain things, and the things that she saw, the things she was telling me, and I was like, over here they telling us one thing, and over there they doing something else. I said, so why over here in America, growing up, I used to see a picture of a white Jesus, and this is what I'm saying to myself now, and that's me being a young Black woman seeing all of this. But again, I didn't praise that. I was just always curious to why they didn't look like me. It was confusing. But as I got older, if people would come to me and they give me these little pamphlets, I wouldn't pay no mind to that. I would fold it up, just read the scripture part. But again, still, I just wasn't down with it. And so with that being said, again, we know what the agenda is behind the Pope. Those who have awakened know the agenda. And now that it's the first American, this is going to be very interesting. Because if we haven't noticed that our energy has been shifting everything that's been going on. For some of y'all that just tuning in, I'm your co-host, your girl, Cynthia J, on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Your birthing doula, your healer, your inspirational. The thing here is that people need to stop getting caught up in the deception. I was one of them. I can admit. Hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video right now. The deception. And the sad thing was, as we were talking back to my client's spouse, she was like, oh, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to debate. I said, this is not a debate. We're just having a conversation. I'm just trying to get it. You say you believe in God and Jesus and all this stuff, right? Yet you put in your faith in a Pope who is human just like you, who is human just like Jesus, they say. But the gift is given to everyone to be able to interpret. As long as your heart is pure, your mind is pure, and your intentions are pure, right? This is not going against those, who are Muslim with Allah or anything like that. This is just talking. But do you know that the Vatican Church controls everything? Everything. The Vatican Church controls everything. Just because it's over there, it still controls everything over here. And people don't even realize that. Some people don't. Everything over here, the Vaticans. Yeah. And I have to be careful what I say on here because they're watching, they're listening. But I will say this: they control us giving birth. They control the corporations. They control our money with the resources, with the taxes. They control every living thing. They took the things that were supposed to be used for good, and we living in deception for evil. Yeah. Everything that was supposed to be used for good is being used for the wrong. It's for to be used to overpower the people. The people. So as I'm sitting there listening to her, I can see in her eyes that she was so adamant. And then she wanted to try to insult my intelligence by saying, well, do you know what this says in this and this? And I said, yes. But check this out. I said, why don't you read this book called The Spirituality Book? Oh, but who is it by? Is it by Nelson Thomas? Is it by this, that? Because we can't read it if it's not. It has to be somebody. I said, and right there, bam, a conditioned mind. A conditioned mind. She was like, what? I said a conditioned mind. If you are so stuck on the way that they teach you and who it has to come by, instead of learning all around you, that means you can't control you. That means that you let somebody else try to control you. Does that make any sense? Yeah. You're right. Bring it out. Bring it out. You're right. So I'm like, wow. So with that being said, this new pope, this is going to be very interesting, guys. I'm really trying to see how this is going to go. Because they was even talking about how the family tree, and this is another thing for those, if y'all didn't get a chance, for those who might follow Roland Martin. Oh man, Roland Martin, he's something else. Roland Martin is something else. I ain't gonna front. I used to listen to Roland Martin, but now he on some other stuff. He on some other stuff. And see, his background supposed to be Caribbean and all that. But the way he be talking about foundational black people, he on some other stuff. And then it was funny. So let me read this article right here. It says Pope Leo's family tree shows black roots in New Orleans. This was 6 days ago. For those who don't know, you can find this on the breaking news. This article is by ABC News. It was 6 days ago by Elizabeth Thomas, Aladora Valley, and Emily Chang. So it says right here that Robert Francis Provost, a Chicago-born who had became the Pope on Thursday, has black family roots in New Orleans, a record show. You see me got my hand like this, right? Like, who cares? I'm gonna be like Jim Carrey. Who cares? What that got to do with it? The man looked just as white as the piece of paper I write on. But let me keep going. I digress. So here it says ABC News has obtained several records, including the U.S. Census records from the early 1900s, demonstrating that the first American Pope's family tree reflects a complex racial history of this country. Both of maternal grandparents are Joseph Martinez and Louise Banquet, are described as black or mulatto in several senses. Well, we already know the story. For some that do know, already know the story when it comes to mulattoes. For those who don't know what the whole thing with mulatto, if you go back during the time, way back in the day, back in the days, the century days, during the time where our brothers, who was the Moors, was out here, and some of them end up mingling with the ones outside of our race, and they created mulatto children. Yes, mulatto children. So that means, as we would know as biracial children of today, they could pass for white because some of them were so light that they could pass for white, especially the young women back in the day. And so, with that being said, Martinez, that's a Spaniel last name. So that goes to show you that That means they came from some parts of Spain and, you know, Mexico and those places, because a lot of them come from the Aztecas. So, with that being said, again, does that guarantee that they were black? Not necessarily. Some of them were Haitian. And even then, they still, came from different parts at a certain time. So, right here, I'm going to keep reading. So, it said on their 1887 marriage license, Martinez listed his birthplace as Haiti. See, isn't that what we just said? Haiti. And birth records show that he was born in Santo Domingo in the Republican. In the Republican. And Chris Smothers, who is a professional genealogist for 15 years and historian studying a Simmons University, told ABC News that these were the same territories at the time. This is why it's so important that we learn. So sometimes just because they shoot you out news, that's why it's good. Okay, if I see this, let me go look it up for myself. And sometimes Google ain't gonna tell you everything. Because some things on Google and these browsers, because remember, our Googles and our certain browsers are still AI. They will not list everything. They will take things out. So you have to go and research the archives yourself. Seriously, you do. So on here, it also mentions that that Banquet's birth records, like I said, shows that she was born in New Orleans. Yeah. Now everybody know New Orleans is a very popular place. New Orleans is known for the story of, Madame Laveau and all of them, and the great Papa Legma and all these other things. For some who don't know, who don't study, because it's known for New Orleans to be a big portal place. Yes. For those who are on here, if you're from New Orleans, shout out to New Orleans on my TikTok. Yes, New Orleans is a big portal place. I hadn't been there in years, and I can tell you I had my fair share of experience years ago. And those who I was with, I don't know what happened to them after that. I can tell you that. But I will say this is that New Orleans had a lot of those migrate there over the years. And that's even in the current years of since I've been alive too. When Katrina hit, when there was another hurricane that hit back in, what was it? 08. Can't remember the name of it, but at that time I was in the big GA, and I remember having people from that area and Florida and other places shoot up north, but they would come to the GA and get hotels there, and I'm like, that's not gonna get you away from the hurricane and the stormy waters and stuff. We still gonna get hit here too. But people were doing it, and I'm gonna tell you, I met a lot of interesting people. Yes, I did. So let me continue to read this article. But here it shows a marriage certificate. For those, I don't know if you can see it on here on my Restream Live. You can't see it there. But a marriage certificate. And y'all can, again, remember, y'all can find this on the ABC and News article. And it shows them being married, and that, again, Joseph was as a native of Haiti. It said, despite Martinez being born abroad, his father, the Pope, great grandfather, was found to be from Louisiana, and emphasizing that the Pope's ancestry in America South. It is clear that the Pope has century-long ties to free people of color. And what gets me is that what made them go and look back at that? See, that goes to show you right there that they're trying to find some way to incorporate themselves with Black people. And this is no offense, again, but this is speaking the truth and only but the truth, even if it's hurting your feelings. But how is it that you become the Pope? Why are people looking to see his genealogy just to see if he's related to Black people? Somebody talk to me, because this doesn't make any sense to me. Why? you already have the higher up, the upper hand, because you're Caucasian. No offense, but offense. You're Caucasian, and you get the benefits of the rewards quicker than we do. So now you're trying to gravitate, find a way to gravitate him to lineage of the people, the brothers and sisters. Yeah, because when it comes to it at the end, none of them is gonna be worried about us. But I would tell you this, and I would say this. Thank you, love, my angel wings. I would say this. There is a big shift that's happening if y'all have not caught it. No, we hear it all the time. People say big shift, big shift. No, no, no. Remember, this is the year of the Aquarius, the year where things are being shifted like no other. If you have not noticed who passed away last month, things that happened last month, it's not a coincidence just to be a coincidence. It's happening for a reason. It is showing us how they can tap into us and see we are the ones who are originally connected to the land that our feet tread and walk on. And the Pope is all the way over there across seas and still has some kind of authority over here in the Americas. How is that so? That goes to show you how many times things have been taken from those who shed blood, those who lost life from the flesh here, those who fought and paved the way, those who tried to be nice and welcoming. That's why they say you can't invite everybody in your home. This goes back to the movie Sinners. Why it's so important. Don't welcome everybody in your home. Everyone is not welcome. And that's the biggest lesson that my ancestors, your ancestors should have learned. And look what it cost us. And every information that we have, we only know but so much. And see, when I get around certain people, even my own, I know that they only know what they know. Some of them, they can't help but to know what they know. They choose to only want to know what they want to know. And they choose to believe what they want to believe. That's just like when my other client, when the spouse was like, well, I believe what I believe and you believe what you believe. It's really technically, to be honest with you, it's not about what we believe. It's what's the truth and what is the facts with the truth. Point blank. Peace and love. Yes. Hello, my love. Thanks for the hearts and the loves and the flowers. Beautiful. Angel wings. Yes. And it goes to show you that it's so important to know thyself. But as I'm listening to her, she's like, I believe what I believe and such. And I mean, she had her mindset fully on worshiping this man as if he was Christ himself. Hey, but I'm looking at it like, what is it benefiting you? Is it helping you? Yeah. I'm like, look at it. Look at what's going on. But with that being said, I'm gonna finish reading the last little bit on here because they're talking about the census, then I'm gonna let it go. Then it said on the 19th census, while everything wants to pop on my screen now, while his family lived in New Orleans, the maternal grandparents and his aunt, Irma and Margaret, were identified as Black. And you know, sometimes back in those days too, they would mark the opposite too. Let's say some people who were mixed would say Black because that's what they wanted to claim point blank. They didn't want to claim nothing else. It was for real. Others would claim white. You'd be very amazed what they did back in the day, and they still do it. However, in the 1920s, after the family migrated to Chicago and had the Pope's mother, Mildred, that's when the decades of this census reflected their race as white. Hmm. So, like so many families fleeing in the South at the time, they could have shifted their racial identity. And this is common for survival strategy. But the thing is, he still claimed himself as white. So, what is that benefiting the black people? Hmm? Even if he knows all this, he would still claim himself that. Hmm. He was still claiming that. And like it says on here, between the period of 1910 and 1912, but they also changed their racial identifier, which is very common. And a genealogist and a family historian at the New Orleans collections told this to ABC News that many families did this as a question of their livelihoods and economic decisions. They passed for white. That's why I said that passing for white is the power goer for some. Yeah, it's the power goer. But you're like, okay, well, hold on, Cynthia J. How is this pertaining to anything? Yes, your podcast, your ministry, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I still have to let you know what's going on today. And we cannot be fooled by what we see and by what we hear all the time. That's why it's so important. Even though I'm telling you this, still go look it up for you. Still go look it up for you. And they have the picture of his family up here. See, got a picture of a family member here. They also got another picture of the other mother. She looked like somebody I know. I don't know if y'all can see that. But yeah, so with that being said, that goes to show. And I mean, when I looked at him, I said he looked like he mixed with something. But then most of the time, those who look like that could sometimes be Jewish too. I said he looked like he got something now. I can't put my finger on it, but I see something, is what I said. So with that being said, definitely don't be so quick and so fooled by all this foolishness. But let me piggyback on the situation that I was talking about the father. There was an article. Remember what I was saying earlier at the beginning for those who are just chiming on in about the father Kingston who did the fatally hit to the deputy that unalive his son. So here is saying this is coming from the Independent article. They're saying a GoFundMe has been removed, and this was about 8 days ago. A GoFundMe has been removed supporting on Ohio father accused of unaliving the sheriff deputy after more than 200,000 members of the state law enforcement community complained. How is it? I mean, not 200,000, 20,000. 20,000. That's what they saying on this article. I don't know how true this is. I got to look this one up some more, but even though I've been doing that. 20,000. And then they say that the enforcement complained about it. What? So that shows you how corrupt the system is. Then it says right here, Jay McDowell, president of Ohio Fraternity Order of Police, sent a letter to the GoFundMe on Tuesday afternoon calling the fundraiser absolutely outrageous and accusing Rodney Hint Jr. of the assassination of a law enforcement report. You know what's so funny? Woo! Gotta break my bell on this one. Woo, you know what's so funny about this here? You know how many individuals that have unalived children, spouses, husbands, is from the law enforcement. Again, remember I said these individuals just wear the uniform, but you don't know their character behind that uniform. And they've had GoFundMe's. And people have complained and written out things on behalf to them. Do you see anything happening? And it's been more than 20,000. It also says here, whew, they hit a nub, guys. That Hinton Jr. allegedly ran over and killed unalive, let me rephrase that, unalive the deputy during the University of Connecticut a day after his son was unalived by the police officer. The younger Hinston had allegedly, they said, stolen a car and was unalive while he and 3 others tried to evade police. So I told you that different articles that say different things. In the police body cam footage obtained by NBC News, an officer is seen exiting his vehicle, aiming a fire at the teenager as he is running. So they just told. It says showing on the video, shooting fire as he was running. So where is this weapon, this other weapon that this teen's supposed to have, right? The officer said, and then Henson fell to the ground. The footage does not clearly show whether the teen was brandished his own towards the police officer. They still haven't even verified if there was really a gun there. But authorities believe Henson was struck by 2 bullets in the chest and arm after firing the rounds. You see, there's contradictions there. Hear this. And officers can be heard instructing to keep the teen to get the F down. Now, see, as you listen to this article, it doesn't make any kind of sense at this certain part of the paragraph that I'm reading. Y'all hear that? Then it states here that after unaliving his son, in hours before he allegedly ran over the deputy, the father was reportedly saw the body cam footage. Now, for those who know and those who don't know, it's been in history. It's been in history. Let me repeat it again. It's been in history that those know that if you take a life, another takes a life for a life. Mm-hmm. Yep, been in history. In history. You have heard other elders who have been on our brother documentary show like Tariq Nasheed, who has mentioned the history and the information on this. So with that being said, after all been said and done, my prayer and my concern and my strong stance on this is we can say, can we just get along? Well, that just get along has been long enough. And now it's time to rise. Now it's time to stand. Now it's time to protect. And now it's time to listen to this story of our Ohio father and use and remember this as a living example why it's important to do what's necessary. Some of y'all may beg to differ with me on this. That's okay. But I'm going to tell you now, I thank God I'm not in that predicament, yet I probably would have been in that predicament. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm saying that to y'all now because this situation, no father, no mother should never have to be shown something that should be receiving immediately actions on. There should not be no investigation. It should be immediately arrest, immediately terminated, immediately charged. And these are the situations that we deal with on a daily basis, no matter if we in Ohio, in New Orleans, Alabama. You saw what happened with that situation. Mississippi, Georgia, Virginia, and California, and all these places. It's not a game. It's not a game, guys. It's something that always consistently make you just be like, you know what? Why do I have to kind of constantly see that things like this always have to be done where you get people to take you serious? But this father, he was serious and he did what was necessary. And I salute him and the family. And for those who have any more information and know another GoFundMe, let's support him. Let's support him. Shout out to him. Let's taking up for his family and protecting as much as he could as a father. So I leave with y'all tonight with this. Remember, protect what's yours at all costs because they're protecting theirs. You protect yours. And you do all means necessary what you need to do for the right moral cause. Thank you all guys for joining in on your girl Cynthia J on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Your birthing doula, your psalmist, your inspirational healer, your sister from another mother, and so much more. If y'all guys are in the DMV area looking for a birthing doula, definitely make sure y'all hit up your sister. We are Healing Hearts Tailor-Made Doula. You can definitely find us right in the DMV area, Healing Hearts Tailor-Made Doula. Make sure that y'all look us up. Look us up. Healing Hearts Tailor-Made Doula at 703-347-3240. 703-347-3240. Healing Hearts Tailor-Made Doula. We are birthing and postpartum doula. We help you before and after birth. We don't take it lightly. We are very, 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 very protective of those mothers and fathers and those who are first time parents or those who are not first time parents. We definitely take it to heart. Healing Hearts Tailor-Made Doula, we are here for you. Make sure you hit us up. If you're looking for a birthing doula and a postpartum doula after, we're even there for you when you need some little bit of help. Let's say you don't have family in the area, you need a little bit of help. We are here. We can come and help you for the time to let you get yourself together, help you with your house chores, so much more. Give you time to relax and get yourself together as a mother or a father. And again, we don't not include the fathers. We include them because they are so necessary. Trust me, our dads are necessary. If you're looking for some sea moss, make sure you hit up your girl right here. You can connect with me on Flourish Essence. Yes, Flourish Essence. You can email me at cynthiaj.gospel@gmail.com. cynthiaj.gospel@gmail.com. If you're looking for some CMOS, you can find my information also in my bio for those who are on my TikTok platform and other social media platforms. Hit your girl up. I am on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, TikTok, Twitter, I am there. Make sure you connect with your girl, your co-host Cynthia J, your sister. And so with that being said, I enjoyed you guys tonight. Love y'all. And again, happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers. Continue to shout out for this month. But you are graceful and you are beautiful. You have strived to the very best. And remember, for you and I, as we encourage each other, stay encouraged. It's not easy, but keep striving. Keep being a beautiful, excellent model with morals for your children because they are star seeds and they are watching you and I. So, with that being said, peace and love to all of you guys. Again, welcome again on the Cynthia J Show, holding us women accountable, not excluding the men. Peace and love. Let me go ahead and chime on out with y'all. Later.